Folks, welcome back to Nostalgianomics. Today, I'm going to do my best to answer the question for all of you, should you invest in Pokemon cards? The answer is going to be different for everyone, and hopefully after this video, you can make the best informed decision for yourself. So if you didn't know, there was a pretty big deal live stream last night on OKJ Love's channel. It had over 570 live viewers in there at one point. It's already got over 4,000 views, and it was just finished last night. So obviously, this is a pretty hot button issue in the community. A lot of people want to hear debate on this, and a lot of people are interested and also have very polarizing views. There's one side of things where people think you shouldn't invest in this stuff. It's stupid. It's just a hobby. It's just a kid's card game. There's the other side of things, which I'm on, where I think you can, legitimately invest in it and outproduce gains of traditional investments. There's a whole slew of people in the middle. But I do want to kind of talk about and unpack a lot of the topics that were in the debate, because here's the thing, guys. In any debate, you can either, be closed-minded and bury your head in the sand and not take anyone's viewpoints into consideration, or what I like to do is, sure, there are some issues or topics where I still hold true. I dug my foot in and I just don't see things the way others do. But there were a lot of points that were made where I do think it can help evolve me, my thought processes, and my content. And that's what this whole game is. It's constantly hearing out other people, taking in, their knowledge, and continuing to kind of build on, the things that you do and the things that you feel and think in the hobby and with your investing or collecting, whatever it may be. And so I do want to kind of talk about all those things, but I will leave the link to that live stream if you want to check it out, because it was spicy in the description. Today we're just going to talk about it, and I'm going to give you a realistic view of this whole investing thing, right? We're going to talk about traditional investments, Pokemon investing, where else you could put your money. If you do just want to collect or invest, we're going to talk about the realistic time frames, realistic percentage gains, like I said, try to answer that question. Is it right for you? Do you have the right risk tolerance? Do you actually believe in the future of this stuff? How long do you need to believe in the future of this stuff? And things like that. So before we jump into all that good stuff, I got to shout out today's video sponsor. It is none other than Low Poppin'. Guys, Low Poppin's got something for everyone. They even got the high-end trophies for anyone wanting to, you got the big bucks wanting to chase those. They got the English, they got the Japanese, they got modern, they got vintage, they got, sealed, they got slabs, they got signature cards, something for literally everyone. Also, as you guys know, Low Poppin' is always buying, selling, and trading. So if you do have a collection you're trying to sell or trade up for something, you can always reach out to them at Low Poppin', info@lowpoppin.com, or on their Instagram at Low Popping. If you do want to check them out for any cards you're looking for, the link will be in the comment section and the description below. All right. So no fancy schmancy graphs and charts and data today. I'm just going to sit back. I'm going to talk. And at the end of the things, you can let me know in the comments if you got something out of it. But I'm going to try to answer this question for everyone out there. Is it right for you? Okay. So first off, one of the topics of debate in the discussion last night that, I think was pretty polarizing was, and I think it's the most polarizing. Like I'm coming to the conclusion that I don't know if people hate investors in the community as much as they hate the investing content. And I think that was the biggest hot topic is our content as investors that we make. And, part of it, guys, it's YouTube, right? If you don't make the flashy thumbnails, with the open mouse and with the, arrows going up and the products listed and make the right titles, it's just proven people just don't click on it. It is what it is. So, yes, there's an element of clickbaity stuff there, but at the same time, I try to make sure once they click it, I'm actually giving, real hardcore facts, data, information that's helpful and not just a whole bunch of fluff and pump and dump type stuff. So I understand how people can be turned off by some of the YouTube-y type stuff, the thumbnails, the titles. And so I understand that. I also understand the hatred for this always everything can go up mentality and everyone can win. Now, I have some pretty, different views on that whole thing. I do believe a lot of the time, most everyone can win, especially in scenarios that I lined out, such as, hey, I can pull a card out of a pack I paid $3 for, and it could be a hit card, be worth $50. I could sell that $50 card to a card store for 80% and get $40, and they're able to sell that at a profit. So I made money off the pack. They made money off of me. The person they sold the card to may choose to grade the card and get a 10, and then they made a margin on the grading. That person could sell that 10 for a profit to a collector. That collector could hold that card for a certain amount of years. It could rise in value. Now they win. And so, yeah, there's a point, where there's downturns in the market. Maybe someone does, is down their investment or their hold at some points. But a lot of the way up, people continue to win, 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 win. Same thing with booster boxes. I could buy from a distributor at $88, right? I could sell that booster box to someone for $100. And then they could hold it for a certain amount of time, sell it for $200. That person could hold it, sell it for $400. And then maybe there comes a time where it stagnates out and the person in the end maybe isn't making a lot on it, but isn't losing a lot, and they're able to hold a collectible and not lose. I think that's still a win. So I kind of disagree with the thing everyone has. There always has to be a loser. Maybe at some distant future when Pokemon is no longer popular and it all dies off in 100 years, there's a bunch of losers. But hey, most all of us watching this aren't going to be alive then anyway. So I hate to say it's not our problem, but it's kind of not our problem. And so what you have to ask yourself is, where do you see Pokemon heading? How successful do you see this hobby being in the time that's going to matter, which is your lifetime? For me, I consider myself, hopefully going to be retired in my 50s and 60s. So that's going to be like 20 to 30 years for me. In my personal opinion, I see everything continuing like it is, or at least in some sort of time, or some sort of a relativity to where it is now in the next 20 to 30 years. I think things change very slowly. I think people are creatures of habit, and they're going to continue to collect and invest and enjoy this hobby, especially in their working lifetimes as well. There's new generations coming up. Pokemon's continuing to push this. Social media is going to be around. And so barring some crazy change in how us humans live our lives or anything like that, I do believe I am confident in Pokemon values in the next 20 to 30 years, which is usually what's going to matter for me, because I'll probably be selling off part of a lot of my investment by then, wanting to retire and things like that. Now, you may have different timelines. You may think, Alex, I think this stuff's all going to start going downhill in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Hey, then it might not be for you, right? That's where the, opinions come in. If it's right for you to invest, if it's wrong for you to invest. So if you don't share my same opinion on the optimism of how successful it's going to continue to be in the next 20, 30, maybe 40 years, then hey, maybe it's not right for you. Now, getting back into the debate conversation. So I get it. Okay. I get it. Maybe us content creators need to do a better job of, laying out the risks, laying out the fact that these things don't always go up forever, laying out the fact that, hey, there are price points that make more sense to buy in than other price points. There are timelines to buy certain products and cards that make sense at one point, but may not make as much sense at a later point. And so I understand that. I'm going to take that criticism well, and I'm going to do my best to add it into my videos going forward. So thank you for that, guys. Another thing that, okay, J Love, man, this is one thing I gotta hit back on, dude. I'm not trying to call you out. But it happens in every single one of these debates, man. And it's one thing that really gets on my nerves is you did it at one point, and people always try to call out the morality of Pokemon investors or Pokemon investment YouTubers. And I take a little offense when people call my morality into question. Guys, no, I do not feel any moral issues when I show on my channel what I am successful with and have been successful with for the last 9 years in this hobby. I show the charts, historical data, everything necessary to back up my claims. I show the exact plays or talk about the exact plays I have made or am making. And then I usually always say, if this makes sense to you, do your own research, do your own due diligence, and make the plays based off how you feel, right? I don't ever try to push anyone into anything. I don't tell anyone to go out and buy today or try to create this FOMO, right? I just try to do, put forth the videos that I feel are helpful to people. And I really take offense when people try to call my morality into issue for this. Because that's kind of a strong claim, right? To say like you're immoral for the things that you're doing in the hobby. And so, hey, maybe people really feel that way. I 100% don't, but I did want to address that. Now, getting into the whole risk level, right? Guys, there's going to be risk in any single investment out there. Now, you may disagree with me on this. This is kind of my risk level I put Pokemon at, okay? First of all, saying Pokemon is risky, that's too broad of a statement because, yes, singles could be risky, slabs could be risky, buying into boxes that have already appreciated in the hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, those could be risky, right? When you're talking about a brand new box in the 80s or 90s English box, I think that risk level is a lot different than a lot of other Pokemon risk levels. Okay. So I'm going to be using that as my example because I think that is the safest play you can make in the hobby, in my opinion. So when you're taking that into account, okay, I put that kind of in between mutual funds, S&P index, and single stocks or single cryptocurrencies. So this is my opinion, okay? If I want to be, no risk at all, I'm going to put my money in a money market or a savings account, right? No risk, no investment possibility. It's going to grow at, 3% or less, whatever it is. And you're going to make a little bit of money, but you're not going to really grow that much and you're not going to have any risk. From there, I would say you move into maybe like an S&P index fund or a mutual fund where you are going to have a higher percentage gains, but you are going to take some risk. You will have down years or times when you're actually down, depending on when you get in. But over a large enough amount of time, you are gonna, usually average 8 to 12% a year, maybe a little more if it's a good mutual fund, right? And I would say that's a less risky move. Now, that's where I would put Pokemon booster boxes is right after that. I truly believe Pokemon booster boxes at $80 or $90 is less risky than buying a single stock. We've never seen a Pokemon booster box go to zero in Pokemon's history. We've seen plenty of single stocks go bankrupt. We've seen plenty of single stocks drop in, 80%, 90% of their value. We've never seen that happen with Pokemon booster boxes, right? We've seen them drop in the 70s. Some people say way back when in vintage, they dropped in the 60s or 50s. But the whole time I've been in this hobby, even back in XY when it was really dark, we've never seen boxes fall below the 70s. And so that's my risk tolerance. I'm looking at it saying if I buy in the 80s, I have very little risk of it dropping very much. And I have a 100% track record of boxes always rising in value over a period of time. And so I always say, hey, if your time frame is 3, 5, 7 years, odds are you have a much higher probability of that box being worth more than $80 or $90 in 3, 5, 7 years than you do throwing money in a random single stock or a random single cryptocurrency. Again, you can do better in those, but I feel safer, in my opinion, in Pokemon booster boxes. Now, when you go into single stocks or single cryptocurrencies, can you outperform Pokemon? Absolutely. But pay attention to that list I just made, right? Money market or savings, mutual funds, S&P index, Pokemon sealed booster boxes, and then a single stocks cryptocurrencies, right? The risk goes down. What also goes down, right? The amount of money that you can see in returns, right? Least returns in money market mutual fund or money market or savings accounts. Then you get a little more returns, mutual funds, S&P. You get better returns, which has been proven over the past 10 years of modern sealed. You get better returns in Pokemon sealed booster boxes than you do in the mutual funds or S&P index. And then, yes, you could outperform even Pokemon with single stocks or cryptocurrencies. And so that's what you need to ask yourself. What level of risk do I want to incur? How much do I believe in this stuff? And if I do believe in this stuff, do I think I can outperform S&P index and mutual funds with them? If the answer is yes, I do believe the 10 years of historical data, then hey, okay, I'm going to move in. If you don't believe the last 10 years of historical data, you think the next 10 are going to tell a very different story, then say, hey, I don't believe in this. I'm going to keep my money where it's at. I'm going to continue to collect. All of that is fine, but that is the decision you need to make for yourself, okay? I can't make it for you. My content isn't going to make it for you, and but that's where you need to be. These are the things you need to think about for yourself. Moving on to other subjects, I think most people kind of agreed on that. OKJ Love was still a little on the fence, but most everyone else, Cool Trainer Ryan, Opossum Bud, obviously Pokey Office, kind of agreed. Hey, listen, yeah, if you put some boxes or some cases away, and you wait 3, 5, 7 years, odds are they're going to be worth more. You can continue to do this. That's how things happen in the hobby. And so it's pretty widely accepted. I don't think many people have a problem with that. I think it's more just based on the content more than the investment itself. That's what I took from the conversation, at least. Let's see. One of the other things that people had a problem with was, I guess, not outlining the risk enough. Guys, obviously everything's a risk, right? If you buy real estate, in an area that's kind of borderline to a more rundown area of town, right? You always run the risk of that kind of pouring over to where you bought your real estate, house prices going down, homeless people moving in, crime starting up and the area becoming kind of impoverished and the values going down. There's a risk there. You always have a risk investing in stocks or crypto, right? For, that coin or, that crypto to go down, that stock to end up going to zero and bankrupt. Like you say that can't happen. Well, hey, Blockbuster at the time no one thought could happen either. And they went to zero. There's tons of stocks out there that at the time people thought were strong stocks. They went to zero, right? There were times when Apple was a brand new stock and no one believed in Apple, and look at Apple now, right? And so, there's always going to be risk out there. It's just you need to ask yourself, how much risk am I willing to take compared to how much gains do I want to make, right? If you just want to build your wealth slow and you feel more confident in a mutual fund, great. If you want to try to move ahead in the line a little bit and you want to try to get there a little faster, maybe Pokemon might be worth it for you because it's a little more risk, but it might be a little more reward. If you want to go farther than that, hey, maybe throw money in a single stock you believe in or a cryptocurrency. Maybe you'll get rich that way. But it all just depends on your risk level. So I think that was one of the main topics too. I'm trying to go back a little more and think about the things. I think the biggest disagreement we all have is the time frame. I think a lot of people just don't believe in the historical data continuing to be proven true in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And I think that was the biggest thing is a lot of people just think, this can't last. It's too good to be true. Things are going to really take a dive in the next 3-5 years. We're not going to see anywhere near the same returns. And hey, that's a very real criticism, right? I can't compete with the future, right? I talked about it in the last night's debate. I can't predict NVIDIA's earnings for 26, 27, and 28, right? I can't do that. I have no clue what NVIDIA is going to do in the future. Maybe it falls off the face of the earth too, right? I don't know what Pokemon's future is, right? All we can go off of is historical data, right? And, I made a correlation, and even one of the, I think it was Rob. Forgive me if I'm wrong, if I'm getting your name wrong, but he's an investment advisor. And even he said, yes, this is exactly what people do, right? Is they go into their new company and they say, hey, you want to invest in our 401k? They say, yeah, we do. And they go, okay, here's a list of our funds. People don't dig into those funds and research which stocks are in those funds and how they're managed and how long the stocks are held. All people do, for the most part, a generalization, is they go down the list and they say, well, how have these funds performed in the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years? Okay, it's got a good track record. I'll throw my money in there. How many people do that? It's the same thing as looking at historical data of Pokemon product. It's just the mentality of people believe since the stock market or those things have been around longer that they're safer. And so my question was, well, how long would Pokemon have to continue these consistent gains for it to be considered safe enough? And there wasn't ever really a clear answer given. It's like, okay, well, once Pokemon has 20, 30 years of consistent gains, then is it considered safe? And I think a lot of people still say, no, I still don't think it's realistic. I think it's all manipulated and pump and dumped and all that. And that's the issue is I think people don't want to give it the credit. People don't want to look at Pokemon as an investment and look at the historical gains. Because then they would have to admit that, oh yeah, it is more similar to how people invest in other things than you might like to admit. And so that's why I still hold true and hold firm to my position that, you have to be able to look at some historical data at some point to be able to try to predict where things are going to go. Yes, anything can happen. If you believe historical data isn't going to mean anything and Pokemon's going to fall off the face of the earth, again, just don't invest in it. It's that simple. We can agree to disagree and we can move on. And that's kind of what I wanted to say at the end of this is, look, we all had a lot of disagreements. We were, heated at some points. The chat was a lot more heated than we were, but, I enjoyed it. I think everyone was respectful. I think everyone did a good job of getting their points across. I know people want everyone to be at each other's throats. Obviously, I'm not the biggest fan of everyone on the live stream or, of their content. But last night specifically, I was a fan of everyone. Everyone on the stream did a good job of talking things out, giving their viewpoints, giving their back and forths. And obviously, like always in debates, no consensus was found. But I think, hopefully other people in the chat and alive on screen with me took some of the things that I said and others said into account. It helped kind of, form their overall view of the hobby and investing. And, they're going to stay true to some of the things they believe. I'm going to stay true to some of the things I believe. But I think there was some common ground. And so I think it was an overall positive for the hobby. I think we should probably continue to do it again in the future. I think people like to see these debates. They like to see, other viewpoints. And it's not about winning or losing. It's not about someone being right or someone being wrong. It's just about talking out everyone's different opinions and doing it together in a respectful manner and getting to some kind of conclusion of, the similarities we share, the differences we share, where we all kind of see the hobby. And that way everyone can, again, make their own decisions based on what's right for them and who they kind of correlate most to. And like I said before, guys, my content's not for everyone, right? If you're not into that's what's great about this hobby right now too. If you're not into the investing, numbers, business side of things, great. Guess what? There's a channel for collectors out there. There's channels for pack openers who just want to see people open packs. You just want to kind of veg out and watch it and be entertained. There's that, right? There's channels for vending, right? If you want to look at what it's like at a Collecticon or what it's like to vend, there's those channels out there. There's TCG channels out there. There's gameplay, just live Let's Plays out there. There's something for everyone out there if my channel and my content isn't for you. But we don't have to go to each one of those channels and tell that creator how much we hate the part of the hobby they're a part of or how much we hate their content. Just don't watch it. Just unsubscribe. Don't watch it. Move on. Watch someone you actually do like. Life's too short to be angry at people for making things that you don't like, right? And so that's what my content's always been, guys. It's always going to be, I'm going to show you and tell you about the successes I've had over the course of 9 years in this hobby. I'm going to continue to show my plays, share my thoughts on why I'm making those plays and investments, back it up with as much facts and historical data as I can. Obviously, sprinkle my bias or my opinion in there from time to time. And your job is to either do your own due diligence, take what I said and research it for yourself and make your decisions based on what I say or other people say, what you think. But, my whole idea was to do that in a fun, entertaining way. I started my channel because I saw that, one, a lot of people didn't share my view, but two, that a lot of the investing business channels at the time were, just kind of monotone or kind of, boring or just kind of sat there and talked to a camera. I wanted to make investing, short form content, fun, energetic, in your face. Hey, here's the graphs, here's the charts, here's the cards, here's what you need to do. It's pretty simple. We don't need to talk about it for hours on end every time. And that's what I did. And for better or worse, that's where we're at on this channel. If you like it, continue to subscribe and watch. If you don't, again, plenty of other creators out there. I don't hold it against you. I appreciate you giving me a chance for the time you did. And so hope everyone enjoyed the video. Okay, J Love, I'd love to do it again with you sometime, brother. Everyone else on that live stream, appreciate all of you sharing the screen with me, having the conversation. It was a great time. I truly feel what's the word? Can't even think of the word. I guess lucky or, to be on the stream with all of you guys and share a screen with you. So it was a good time and love to do it again with any one of you in the future. And so that's all I got today, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think of everything. My name's Alex. This is Nostalgianomics. Be back here in a new one soon. I am.